I'm Shannon Cherry, and I'm from shannoncherry.com. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jacqueline Wales, and I'm Jacqueline Wales of the Fearless Factor at Work.
And we're here today to just ask each other three questions so you can get to know both of us. And this is spontaneous. We have no idea what the other one's going to ask. We do know each other. That is the pre-qualification you need to know, is that we do know each other fairly well. So the questions may not sound very obvious to most of you, but to us, it'll probably help if you know that about us. All right. So, Jacqueline, do you want to start with a question for me?
Well, you've been in marketing for many, many years, and you have so many great skills and talents around the subject of marketing. But there's a lot of people who are maybe watching this right now who really don't understand, why do we need to be experts at marketing, or why do we need to hire experts at marketing?
Because you could hang a shingle up and expect if they build it, they will come. Doesn't work. The old way was in the early 1900s, if you marketed yourself 7 times, people would start buying. We are now in 2021 bombarded with at least 370 messages an hour.
Ooh.
So 7 times is not going to cut it anymore. And that's why you need someone who understands you, your market, and how to reach them.
And it's one of the reasons why, if you have a budget for anything in your business, it should be on the marketing, because there's so much noise out there that it's real hard to get visibility and to get yourself rising above whatever it is that's going on out there. So um, that's my first question. I'm going to ask you to bring me a question.
So Jacqueline, you have written the Fearless Factor book and the Fearless Factor at Work. We can see them behind you. What scares you?
Ooh, what scares me? I think I scare myself, to be honest. I've had such a life of risk taking, of doing things that are way outside the norm for most people, taking a lot of risk, traveling and so forth. And I've had so many of my own challenges with my confidence and believing in myself and allowing myself to take that bigger step. So I think really, when I say what scares me the most, and we have a phone that didn't go off there, but never mind.
I hope that didn't scare you. It's okay.
That did not scare me. But yeah, I think it's really about my thinking. I have to watch things. Like, I'll give you an example. Last week, I signed up for a program that was a very expensive program. And I got the old fear thing going. It was like, how are you going to pay for this? What are you going to do with this? Blah, blah, blah. Now, that's a mental thing that's going on. This is not about, stuff coming in from the outside. Those days are over. I feel like, everything's fairly status quo. So that's the piece that I always, and that's why I write the books. That's why I do what I do. I want to talk about what's going on up here, because what's going up here is what's happening out there. And that's what we got to put a handle on. So, what is the biggest challenge for me as a solopreneur, getting myself out into the world? Let's say that I'm just a newbie. I have no idea. So, what's my biggest challenge going up there?
Interesting, because I thought you were talking about yourself, but no, you're going to talk about a newbie. That's okay. The hardest thing is really that bright shining object syndrome, because you're going to hear a lot of people say you need to be in social media, and then there's so many different social media outlets out there. Oh, and then you need to have a blog, and you need to have this. You don't need most of it. You have to be an expert in one where your market is, and that is the biggest thing challenge for most people to realize, is that they don't have to be everywhere. And yes, I even think I have to be everywhere too. So it's a common thing. All of a sudden, I'm on Clubhouse and I need to be there. And now, after the initial part of that, I'm kind of like, yeah, probably not as much as I think, because my market really isn't there at all. So, Jacqueline, when it comes to people stepping into their fear, Because we're talking about marketing, they might be afraid that if they're not everywhere, they're not going to be noticed, they're not going to be accepted or whatever. How do you get over that?
Well, a piece that I work on regularly with regards to the fearless factor is uh, the thinking for a lot of people that they're not good enough, or they need to prove themselves. And that's a big behavioral issue right there. So what happens is they spend a lot of time, rushing around and putting stuff out there, and God knows I did it myself, so I completely get it. But I think it's that sense of trying to prove yourself that creates all of that activity that is not necessarily you. So having the courage to just sit back and go, okay, take a big deep breath. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to keep doing this. And consistency. I have 6 things that I say every successful person must have. Number 1 is a commitment. You've got to be committed to whatever it is you're going to be doing. You got to be focused as number 2. You got to be disciplined to show up and do the stuff that needs to be done that you don't want to do, but you have to do anyway. You've got to have follow through. That's a big piece that's missing for a lot of people when they're getting out in the world. And you have to have consistency. And consistency is frequently lacking. And then the last piece is perseverance, because if you're failing, then get up and do it again, because failure is simply just an iteration. It didn't go quite the way you wanted it to, do it again. So those 6 elements are really, really key to helping people, and especially figure out the direction that they're going in and stay on track. How do you get people to buy what you're selling?
You don't.
Right answer.
You don't. The thing is, if you force it, what you said is, how do you make them? How do you get them? That's a force. What people need to understand is people buy with their hearts, meaning it's no matter what it is, including a washer dryer, which my dryer just went the other day. So you buy with emotion, right? It may have features that you need, but you buy based on emotion, whether it's the brand name or something, and then you justify it up here. You logically justify the reasons why, and that's where those features and things come in. So focus more on the pain, and people will logically buy. If you're forcing the sale, you're going to focus on features, not benefits.
That's exactly right. And I think one of the things we're doing with this video challenge is that we're allowing people to have access to us. We get to be connecting, because it's really connecting with your heart. Because whatever it is that you're serving, or whoever you're serving, and whatever it is that you are serving, has to be done with heart.
So this one is really about you and empathy. What makes your heart sing?
Seeing people change. Seeing people go from, oh, I really don't know what to do, to, oh my God, I never thought about it like that before. And then I go, oh, well, now that you can, what would you like to do about it? And then they go take different actions, and they become much stronger. They become much more of themselves. And that gives me the greatest joy of all. It's the reason that gets me out of bed in the morning. It's why I do what I do, because my mission in life is to change the world one person at a time. And that sounds like a really big, bold statement, but it's about, if I can help one person be better at who they are, they can help a whole lot of other people be better at who they are.
All right. So that is 3 questions. Jacqueline, why don't you share your website one more time so we make sure that people who are interested and resonated with what you say can connect with you?
Lovely. It's thefearlessfactoratwork.com. Thefearlessfactoratwork.com. And feel free to pay me a visit. Say hi.
And I'm everywhere that says Shannon Cherry, pretty much. So if you type in Shannon Cherry, you'll probably find ways to reach out to me. I'm just lucky I have a very easy name to remember for the most part, so it helps. Well, thank you. Go ahead.
Well, I got the last name of Wales, so I'm in the princess category.
There you go. You are a princess. So there you go, everybody. I hope you've now met the princess and the cherry. So it's sort of like a princess and the pea kind of thing going on. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll connect with you soon.
Bye.